Let's watch this first. What is March Madness? Question mark.
Oh, they've done it! It's Virginia. They've won the NCAA basketball tournament, the March Madness. And...
Holy, this is loud.
Wait, hold on. That's not right.
Okay.
March Madness takes over the U.S. sports cycle every year, but I have a lot of people ask me what exactly it is, and so that is what I'm going to explain. What it is, how it's put together, and why it's so dang captivating, so that maybe March Madness, which is going on right now, is something that you can pay attention to, because who doesn't want more fun sporting events in their life?
True,
March Madness is
very
just a catchy name. What you actually have in March Madness is a college basketball tournament. What I'm going to set off to one side is why college sports are so important in the United States. Just work under the assumption that they are for their own unique reasons, because professional sports, and with the exception of baseball, arrived in the United States late, which means college sports were the main attraction. The biggest American football stadiums are all for college sports, and
yeah, it's still very confusing to me that college is so massive compared to like professional, like the big leagues, you know. College is still, it's so massive in the US. Compare at least to like the rest of the world. Just go to it first. Yeah, that's probably why they go to it first and the others just were so late.
Millions of people will watch.
Because if you compare it to the rest of the world, nobody cares that much about college level
for this
games.
Basketball tournament. The only mistake you can make here is assuming that they're like a reserves tournament. It's more similar to the FA Cup if you just don't allow the Premier League teams to participate.
Okay.
It has the tenure and it has that kind
that
of
actually makes more sense.
Charm of the underdog, the Cinderella story that all of the United States is looking for. Players are made in singular moments in this tournament that will last them a lifetime, and American sports fans will remember for the rest of their lives. So let's start at the very beginning. College basketball is about 350 teams.
Damn!
At the top level, and these are actual.
March Madness does give off FA Cup vibe. Actually, it does give very FA Cup vibes, especially if you, as he said, if you remove the Prem teams, the best teams. I can see how it gives FA Cup. Are all of these teams the professional teams, or are these college teams? Because I see some like decent names on this list. Let's say list. These are all D1 teams. Okay.
Four-year institutions that kids like me.
You can see, by the way, how like the coasts are so different. Like so different. West Coast has barely any teams compared to like East Coast. Like this is just filled with like teams.
Else would go to school. All 350 of these are sorted into 32 conferences. Think of them as
there's just more people on East Coast. Yeah.
The Premier League. You have in the United States.
So many more people. You are right. Because if you like exclude what like Texas and fucking Cali, and Texas is more like mid, like it's not even fucking East Coast at this point. It's just at the middle. So if you remove like California, they barely have any big like cities. He's listening to the conferences. Okay.
Conference, which covers
Atlantic Coast Conference. Okay, ATL.
The
Big Ten. Okay, this is the one that you guys are on. The Big Ten.
A Midwestern Conference, as you can see, or the Big 12, which is
okay.
The South Central.
Or are you in Big 12? Wait, which one was you? Big 10 or Big 12? I forgot.
The SEC, the Southeastern Conference, which takes up the Southeast. They're all loosely regional and allow these colleges to play against each other. There are 6 conferences.
Big 12 is your conference. Okay.
Named that are considered power conferences, and that's where the majority of the big teams will play in. There's then a next tier of conferences where you have your mid-majors, and then about half the conferences where you have colleges and universities of just a few.
I've heard of the Ivy League. I've heard of this, like the Ivy League. I've heard of this before. I don't know where I've heard of it. I've heard of it somewhere. Ivy League. I feel like that's like massive, no? I don't know.
Just a few thousand kids and less resources to invest in the team. Those are the small majors. We put those at the bottom of this basketball pyramid. Each team is composed of 15 players, and they are only allowed to attend school for 4 years. There are various little rules, such as injury exemption, that allow them to play for an extra year or 2, but by and large, they'll be on the team for 4 years, as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, or seniors.
The Ivy League is made up of a lot of smart people schools. Oh, so it's the smart ones. Okay. The Yales, the Harvards, and the Browns. Okay,
March
got
Madness,
it.
you watch
Okay, that's
college
probably why I've
basketball,
heard of it.
you'll hear players referred to as, oh, he's an incredible
Okay.
freshman, or what an experienced senior. These are 18 to 22-year-old kids, depending on what that age is. So freshman's 18 to 19, sophomore 19 to 20, and you can work out the rest. Each one of these teams plays through a 4-month season. The first 2 months, you're playing against teams from other conferences, from other leagues. So you'll have
Okay.
things like the Big Ten ACC Challenge, where a Big Ten school plays an ACC school, and there's pride on the line and those sorts of things. This starts
Okay, so
in
conference v
November.
conference.
If we have a timeline here, by the time you get to January, you now enter your conference play. And that means you're playing within your league. the
And then you
rest
play
of the
into your
season.
own
When we
conference.
take
Okay.
The ACC, for example, you play
Duke! Sorry.
20 conference games.
Sorry.
So you can see the conference record of each of the teams in the ACC this year. Duke went 16-4. NC
Duke
State
popped
went
off.
4-16. And if you finish at the top of your conference, congratulations, you've won the regular season conference title, and that is one trophy you get to keep. But we're not done. This league table is used as seeding for a conference tournament. We'll just keep using the ACC as an example, but this is happening in different conferences of different sizes between 8 and 16 teams
Okay.
all around the country. This is the full bracket for
And
the
this is where the
ACC
brackets
Men's
come. Okay,
Basketball
got it.
Championship. My school, Virginia, finished as the 6th best team, and so we got to wait a game before Louisville and Georgia Tech found out who won. You see how you figure out how to make a tournament no matter how many teams you have? You just add these extra play-in games and then bracket it up, and off you go. You then play this tournament usually at a location. For the ACC, it's in Brooklyn. So you go up to Brooklyn, get all
Brooklyn.
the teams
Big Brooklyn. This is the conference tournament which is going on right now. Yeah, I was thinking about that. This is the one that's happening right now. Okay.
together. You play on Tuesday, then Wednesday.
This is about Delaware who won against like the ranked 3 or whatever, and now they lost. I'm assuming that's playing on their conference.
Then Thursday, then Friday, then Saturday. And at the end of it, one team has won the ACC Tournament Championship. This is more important than the regular season title because this carries an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament.
Nice.
It's March Madness. It is 68 of the best.
Yep, you're
most
getting it.
awarded
Yeah, I see.
college
I'm getting it.
basketball
I am
teams
getting it.
from around the country. They get put into one giant tournament. And you might have figured out at this point that out of all the 32 conferences, there is one automatic bid for each conference. That means the winner of the ACC is automatically in the tournament, but so is
Okay, so the winner of the playoff of each like conference gets an easy like a pass to like play on the big league, the big tournament.
Title after having an outstanding conference season, as you can see. And that means Vermont, which you probably never thought about in your life, but is a state and a school, is headed to the NCAA tournament, even though I've not watched them all year. Maybe a conference like the Big Sky.
You know what surprises me? The fact like the biggest conferences, like the Big 12 or the Big 10, they only get one like insta position. You know, one like insta team that goes instantly through to the big tournament. Considering like one that he just showed, which one was it? The one that he just showed, where Vermont, whatever, like.
I've not watched them all year. Maybe
Damn.
a conference like
for example, like here, for example, the America East, the winner was Vermont. As he said, Vermont is ass, and they get the exact same thing, the exact same like ticket as the Big 12 or the Big 10 got, but their conference was way easier to win. So technically, a team like that got like 4th or like 3rd or 2nd in like the Big 10 or Big 12, shouldn't they also get a ticket? Considering their like league is way harder, their conference is way harder. Well, remember he said there are 32 conferences, there are 68 total spots in the tournament. So which conference is going to get the extra spots? The best ones, the ones that perform the best. At least that's how. Oh, that's how it actually works. Oh, okay, so it does actually work like that. Because it works like this in Europe football, in like Europe soccer. It works like this for European European games. That makes more sense. Because it's not fair, you know? It's not fair for a team like Vermont or a team like UMBC, who, like, I have no idea who the fuck they are, to get a ticket against like a team from the top, the Big 12 or the Big 10, who are technically better teams.
And that means Vermont, which you probably never thought about them all year. Maybe a conference like the Big Sky out west. Montana
Big Sky
State had a great year. They ended up actually winning the tournament as well.
Basically, if you don't win your tournament, the best schools are selected by a committee that consults statistics from the season that determine at-large teams. You guys love using committees to decide shit. Like, committees just decide everything when it comes to sports for you guys. For us, it's just numbers. Like you don't even have committees. It's just how did each team or teams, because you're in a group, like how each conference has like 10 teams. How did these teams perform in European matches, like against other conferences? If they played well, then that means that their conference is better than the other conference. And that makes more sense. So they deserve better tickets. Or more tickets.
Because it is very rare from a lot of these conferences to have what you would
interrupt the statistics. I mean, I'm sure committees do exactly that. They probably just do exactly that.
Only 32 conferences.
Because it's the easiest way to decide who just goes through. There it is. He said it. There it is. To what he just said, yep.
32 conferences. The rest of the teams in the tournament are decided by what is called the selection committee.
Nice.
This gets incredibly controversial, but they pick the next best 36 teams in the country.
Okay.
Can you imagine a lot of these, as you probably figured out, would come from a conference like the ACC,
like the ATL, okay.
The power conferences, of which there is also the Big 12, which
exactly.
is that South Central Conference, the Big East, which is made up of kind of northeastern schools, the Big 10, which we've already discussed, the SEC. There's also the West Coast's Pac-12.
Nice.
And there's a few other conferences that will get a couple of teams in. The American Athletic Conference is one of those in that mid-major of the pyramid. If a team has a good year and doesn't win the tournament, they can get in too. Or the Mountain West, they also could do that too. Or the West Coast Conference, the WCC, they actually got 3 teams in this year. The selection committee sits down on a day called Selection Sunday, and they release the bracket. And the bracket is a beast. I'm going to create a...
Is the bracket as to who plays against whom completely random, or does it have to go based on what seed they get? Like what seed bracket they get? I'm assuming it's like seeded bracket, right? And it's not randomly chosen.
It's broken into...
It's based on seeds, okay, got it.
But basically the way the selection committee does it is they make a list of 1 through 68. This includes all of the people that have to be in the tournament. So all the people from the small conferences are going, 68 up. And then you slot in the teams that you feel like deserve to be in that didn't win their conference. Once you've slotted them in 1 through 68, they then break out into 4 groups, seeded 1 through 16. So the 4 best teams become the 4 1 seeds. The next 4 teams become
they get 2
seeds,
and they get 3, etc.
4 teams become
okay,
3
okay,
seeds,
okay.
and so on.
I'm getting it. I am getting it.
And then the bracket appears. The matchups are set by that order of 1 through 68.
And all of these games are 1 game out. Like you play just 1 game, winner goes through, right? These are not like we play 1, then we play second, like a best of 3. Okay, it's a one. Okay, one way game win. Okay, okay.
Fun stuff and who I think is going to win, and off we go. Not actually. I have already made my bracket though. It was very fun on stream.
I've really filled out the bracket by which mascot would win in a fight.
Yeah, true. Blue Jays or Jayhawks?
Okay, big man, I don't care about your bracket.
Person, you would have realized that brackets can only work out of 64, and I keep saying 68. That's because they hold what is called the first 4. It's the first 4 games on Tuesday and Wednesday before the tournament really starts on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and you get the idea. Tuesday and Wednesday, you have 4 play-in games. So there'll be 2 on Tuesday and then 2 on Wednesday. Now, the play-in games are interesting. They are the 4 worst teams in the tournament because you'll notice that 2 of the 16 seeds are contested. This is Wright State against Bryant. This is Texas Southern against Texas Corpus Christi. Those are all 4 conference winners from very small conferences. They have to play each other for the right to even get in to the tournament. The other 4 teams that go to the first 4 are actually the last 4 at-large teams. That's the phrase that's used to refer to the teams that didn't win their conference but got in anyways. So the last 4 at-large teams in this case would be playing for a spot as an 11 seed, which would be Rutgers and Indiana, or the last 2 teams in the tournament who are playing for a 12 seed.
Wyoming and what the fuck the other one is.
So these are the last 2 teams the committee judged to deserve to be here. That would be Wyoming and Indiana. And so they'll go through their
that's Indiana.
play-ins, and then
IU is Indiana, that's crazy.
And this is the reason that this is so iconic in the United States. The first tournament was held in 1939, and for the last 36 years, it's been expanded up to 64. It expanded incrementally from 1939, but it's been around for over 80 years as a staple of the U.S. Worth mentioning that Wyoming and Indiana, who we both mentioned, won national titles in
Okay.
the first 5 years that it existed.
So which team has the best record? Who has the most won March Madnesses?
History. On that Thursday and then on that Friday, every single one of the teams that you see in this bracket will play 16 games a day, starting at 12 and ending well past midnight. Quite
That
simply,
is so many games.
as an
It's so much
American,
time.
One of the greatest pair of sporting days of the year, because every single game is the last game of the season for someone. Every single one. Everyone.
Okay, this
The
is way too
drama that
zoomed.
that
Like, get your
creates,
ugly ass face away
especially
from my fucking
you
screen,
only
bro.
have 4 years on these teams,
Ugly ass dude.
especially if you're a senior, this
So
is the
hairy. Like,
last college
his chest has so much hair. What the fuck?
basketball game you're going to play. If you lose, your entire career is over. Most of these guys don't make the NBA. Some of them go play overseas. They play in the developmental
You
leagues
see,
in the US,
LA
but
is the best. They've
it's
won it
all
11
outside
times.
the
That's actually a
brackets.
lot.
The brackets are very, very fun to fill out. Unfortunately, at the time you're watching this video, the brackets have all already been filled out. That's so you know I'm not promoting some sort of bracket thing. But since I'm filming this video before, you can see how this will become very fun. And then when you hit a great upset, you say, well, I think Colgate's going to beat Wisconsin. And when it hits, you get an all-time rush. Personally, I always end up in like 3 to 4 different bracket groups, and you just sit there and hold your bracket on those first couple of days hoping it doesn't explode. There's never been a perfect bracket though, and there probably never will be, at least unless somebody figures out a way to computer generate every single iteration of the bracket. But I think it's a section of why it takes over the United States so much, and it's because the bracket, and it's because it can completely dominate the sports cycle. It is just so darn interesting.
He's
to
yapping
watch
now.
This sort of was the last 13 seed that made the final 4 teams of the whole tournament at one point, and people are losing their mind. There always seems to be a team that wins a couple games that nobody sees coming because they have a special player or two that we don't know about until these next couple of days. But that is March Madness.
Okay,
And then, over the course
okay.
of the next 3 weekends, it will end, and we will crown a national championship for college basketball. And in November, a whole process is going to start on over again. And I, for one, am looking forward to it, as Virginia missed the tournament this year. If you're thinking about watching March Madness now, I highly on right now, at least in the hoop. The fouls are similar to soccer/football, where
Those
hitting
are called
somebody
Cinderella
is
teams that
a
he was
foul.
mentioning.
Who
Okay, the ones that are
initiates the
not
contact
supposed to win.
is the
Okay.
question, much the
Oh
same
yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
it is
The
in
ones
soccer
that
or football. If you put
win
the ball
game,
in
no
the
one
hoop
thought they
from
would win.
inside
Okay.
the big arc, then it's 2 points. If you put the ball in the hoop from outside the big arc, it's 3 points. And if you get fouled, which, you know, you get fouled.
Is he teaching
while
us
you're shooting
basketball?
the ball towards the goal, then you go to that little line in the middle, and you take as many free throws that you would have had for the shot. So if the shot was in, 3 shots for 1 point. Or to see 5 players on the floor.
Is this guy teaching us basketball, bro?
And under events in the world, March Madness is
What the fuck is he teaching us? Okay, we're not that fucking stupid. Like, come on. Decent video, to be fair. Decent video. 2 years ago. That's crazy. He explained what he wanted to explain very well, but I feel like the last, like, after, like, I don't know, like here, this is all just yapping. Like, he was just yapping for a good, like, 5 minutes. He was just yapping. But he did explain it very, very well.